Hello, everybody, and thanks again for participating in our virtual summit. I'd like to talk today about our brand new design system we'll be rolling out. This new design system really represents a completely new experience that we're providing to all of the customers and partners that make use of Shibumi within their organizations. This is a really exciting one for us. We've been working on it for a long time, and a lot of people have been contributing on the Shibumi side. So I hope you enjoy what you see. Over the last couple of years, we've had the privilege of working with some of the biggest brands in the world, many of which are participating in the virtual summit with us. And we've learned a lot from them as we've been building and creating solutions to meet their needs. One of the things we've spent a lot of time looking at and working on over the last couple of years is the experience that our end users have with Shibumi solutions. We want to make sure that it is providing the right value at the right time and letting people get to their information as quickly as possible, not wasting their time, truly making their lives easier. After thinking about this for a long time and spending a lot of effort defining it, we've come up with a brand new approach to user interface design. That is the new design system. There's lots of pieces and parts that we'll be releasing related to the design system, some of which you have access right now today, and some of which you'll have access in the future. But really what it comes down to is providing not only a beautiful looking experience for you to click around and use, but anticipating what you need to do when you log into Shibumi and trying to let you do that as quickly as possible. As part of the design system, we're producing a whole lot of new visualizations, and as we call them, sections that you can use in your solutions to be able to annotate and illustrate the data you're tracking in a much more seamless way. All of these will be put together into beautiful solutions that we'll be releasing over time. The one that we're looking at right now and that we'll spend some time looking at in this session is one of the solutions we're defining, which is our business transformation solution. As you've heard in some of the other sessions, we're really focused on this concept of apps, which is prepackaged solutions targeted at specific use cases. The first two that we'll be releasing, that we have released, is the Robotic Process Automation Accelerator, the RPA Accelerator, and the Business Transformation Solution. The first thing I want to talk about when we're looking at a page within Shibumi are the elements. Ultimately, there are three base elements to every single page that you interact with within the application. We've spent a lot of time thinking about all of these individually and as a whole. The first one is the left nav. For those of you Shibumi users out there, I'm sure you're familiar with this one. But this is really the most effective way to navigate and find the information within the application. We spent a ton of time crafting the experience here, choosing which icons would make most sense, making sure that the animations and the movement of the left nav are logical and they're intuitive. And along with the design system, we'll further be making enhancements to this to improve it ever more. The next element is the top nav. This is primarily where you navigate to the different tabs that make up an item within Shibumi. The title and the tabs are the main elements of this. We've spent a lot of time on the tabs, making sure that they're as simple as straightforward as possible. And then if you have too many, the overflow of tabs is handled elegantly. We've also spent some time in the mobile solution to make sure that navigating between tabs is just as seamless and intuitive as it is in the desktop. Up on the right, you may see something a little different. This is also where you can see all of the participants that are collaborating and that can view the item you're looking at. We've spent some time working on this as well. Those little bubbles that you see up there, as people add profile pictures into their Shibumi accounts, their little picture will show up right up there. And you'll always be able to know how many people have access to view the item you're looking at. It'll also be easier just by clicking the plus silhouette in this area to add new participants to the item. Then there's the main content within every single tab. This is the part that the template admins have complete control over. You can understand why we've given this the most real estate. We've tried to push the top bar and the left nav away as much as possible and clear a space to allow those template administrators to really craft the experience they want. As we've been developing our apps, we've been capturing best practices along the way. What we can see here is a couple of different areas of this main tab. Up on the top, we have some highlights. Really what this is intended for is to give somebody a quick idea of the summarized information that they'll see in this tab. If they look at nothing else, then we want them to at least be able to understand the main point each one of the tabs is trying to make. Just below that will be some detail. This detail will be the data that we're storing in Shibumi that supports the numbers just above it. In this example, we're focused on benefits for this transformation program. Those tiles up above are displaying summarized benefits, and these charts below are expanding on those numbers and showing them over time grouped by different categories. Now this details view will take a number of forms. It doesn't always have to be a chart like we see in this example. It could also be a list of information. Or it could be other visualizations like Gantt charts or bubble charts. There's a lot of options that you can use and take advantage of within your solutions. Lastly, at the bottom, we have found a need for additional details we might need to communicate to end users. In this case, related to this program, there's a series of work streams that are tracking all of the initiatives. And we wanted to give a point of navigation to the user that's looking at this screen. This allows them to gauge really quickly the state and the health of each one of those work streams and drill in. And this is the concept behind this additional detail. Any more information you want to communicate can be dropped down here. Now let's slide over to Shibumi to see how this looks in a live demonstration. Here we are in the Operation Full Potential, the business transformation program we were just looking at. You can see here those achievement tiles up on the top. Those are summarizing a lot of the information that's being tracked down at the initiative level and giving me some snapshots into how this program is performing across the different stages we're tracking all of our initiatives in. I can click the various tabs to look at the additional information. This is an example of a new visual that we've been using recently that allows me to see my performance for each of my work streams against the target that I've set. This light gray area that I see underneath the red line is telling me that there's a gap and we need to identify some additional benefit in the operations and the sales and marketing work stream. As I click over to the risks tab, I can start to visualize all of my risks in much more expressive ways. A risk matrix, for instance, showing me red, yellow, green, and a count of how many risks and where can be easily created, along with smaller things, like the different types of icons and colors I can make use of in the solution. In this way, we can make our applications and solutions much more expressive and engaging using a broader color palette. As I click into activities, this is a nice illustration, again, of those achievement cards. As I mentioned with icons and colors, achievement cards can be infinitely customized. Depending on the number that we're calculating, I can start to annotate with different colors and icons callouts I want to communicate to the end users. The other thing I'd like to highlight here is just the subtle changes we've made to all of the sections that you see within a page. A lot of the busyness has been cleared away, allowing people to really focus on what they're looking at and the information being captured within the application. As I drill into an initiative, we can see some other sections we can now make use of within our solutions. We wanted to give icons and colors a more prominent position in many of our pages, but still keep it somewhat subtle. We didn't want to scream at people with them. So you'll see in most views, we do now have these subtle icons incorporating any color you'd like. Some other examples of new ways to interact with Shibumi are buttons. We can use buttons in a variety of ways. To progress a workflow from stage to stage, to mark an item complete, to send an email notification. They can do anything we want within the application. Now let's take some time talking about best practices. And I wanted to start with a pile of Legos. This is an analogy we use often. As I mentioned previously, a solution is really made up of a series of templates that includes sections. Sections being the user interface that we provide. You could think of sections as Lego pieces. In Shibumi, we have a lot of Lego pieces that you can choose from and that you can pick as you're crafting your solution. For those of us who have played with Legos in their past, or maybe still do with their kids, you can build anything you'd like. From race cars to rockets to Millennium Falcons. Anything is available and possible with Lego. But without instructions and a vision of what you want to create, you often get yourself stuck with something not quite right. That's why we spend a lot of time crafting a set of best practices you can use as you're defining your solutions. We've focused on simplicity, consistency, and beauty throughout these best practices. We hope that this will serve as instructions as you're crafting your user interface, and ultimately allowing everyone to produce something much more usable and intuitive. That really brings us to what we believe is a design system. And there's really two critical components to it, which we've touched on already. But the first is that refined and redesigned user interface. That's what we saw in the slides and in the demonstration. The look and the feel that Shibumi provides. Our approach to user interface design is to be as subtle as we can. We want to give the solution creators as much control over their interface and their experience as we can. That's why that top bar and the left nav are as small and subtle as we can make them. The other important component to this, though, is the best practices. So within your main content, what are some of the lessons learned that we've taken away from the years of experience we have in crafting these solutions that we can communicate and share with all of the other users of Shibumi? These two things are hand in glove and what we define as the Shibumi design system. In the coming months, you'll see changes as we deploy more pieces and parts of the design system. We hope you enjoy the new user experience as much as we do. Thanks for your time today, and enjoy all the other sessions we have at our summit.